speech. I'm just going to say that he's awesome. He was one of the first camps to welcome me to my first Saguaro Man a few years ago. And they gave me a dirty martini. And it was really gross, but I was really grateful to have it. Yeah, he had too many last night. So, anyways, give it up for Matt C.
Thank you. Actually, I'm gonna, before I launch into my little talk, just right off the bat, I'm a non-monogamist, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And so, part of non-monogamy is sharing. Sometimes it's extremely fucking difficult to share your partner. However, sharing is easy, so I'm going to pass it on to Twizzlers. You guys can help yourself.
Good listening, Sherry.
Okay, so my talk today is about what I'm calling radical non-monogamy, and it incorporates a couple of principles that we will talk about as well. So let me just get started. So first of all, a little about me. I co-founded and helped facilitate an ethical non-monogamy group in Phoenix called OPEN, which stands for the Organization for the Practice of Ethical Non-Monogamy. Isn't that great? Woo! My creative partner came up with that one. And so we're a support group. We do a lot of social events. We do supports and education. I'm also the Western Region polyamory advocate for National Coalition for Sexual Freedom. For those of you who don't know NCSF, come and talk to me. But they're a wonderful organization that defends against sexual discrimination and orientation, things like that. So I have literature on NCSF. So that's a little about me. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with what non-monogamy is, let me just read you a quick definition. So non-monogamy is the practice of creating emotional, intimate, or romantic, or perhaps all three at once, relationships with more than one person at the same time, and with the consensual knowledge of all involved. Examples of non-monogamy include swinging, polyamory, and just open relationships. So one of the reasons why I'm talking today is because non-monogamy has been going through several stages in society. It was born kind of out of the free love movement, the Oneida Colony. That's kind of where it has its roots. In the past, since then, in the decades that have followed, really the basis for polyamory or non-monogamy has been put into place, and that's largely through people who are individual authors. They write books, they do podcasts, they form support groups. That's kind of what the modern basis is non-monogamy is up until this point. However, there's some evidence that we're entering into the final and third stage of non-monogamy in society, and that is widespread acceptance. It's more and more. Yeah, I know, right? So you see it more often. I mean, everybody, online magazines have an article about non-monogamy or polyamory. What is it? It's getting a lot easier to turn around and bump into it. However, the issue with that is that because it's becoming more widespread or more acknowledged, we have people who are brand new just literally jumping into the pond. And so that can be difficult and tricky and can often, just turn into a horrible bonfire, even though we like bonfires. There's a couple of principles that I think, if you are new to this, if you're considering jumping in, there's a couple of principles that the burners provide that I think apply, or can apply to this. The first one is radical self-reliance, okay? So what is that? Burning Man encourages the individual to discover, exercise, and rely on his or her inner resources. The interesting thing about non-monogamy is that you think, it's kind of like I'm dealing with all these people now. It's all about them. Well, what you soon discover is that, and it's almost unavoidable, is that you're going to learn a shit ton about yourself. Yeah. And you know things about yourself, but it's in this catch-22 situation is you don't really know all about yourself and how you handle relationships until you get into the pool. So if you're considering this, I encourage you to do some work in advance to prepare yourself, but pull the trigger, jump in. Don't, you can research, like I researched for a year and then I just jumped in. Don't spend all your time research because then you'll become super smart and academic about it, but you won't have the life skills. So be sure to do that. Frankly, when I was approached to do this a year, when I talked with Matt about doing this a year ago, I was much more gung-ho about non-monogamy. I had drunk the Kool-Aid. I was there, fully supportive. In the past year, I'll have to admit, my journey has been kind of a challenging one at times, so I've cooled a little bit on it. But it has given me the opportunity to examine myself. People say, oh, non-monogamy, it's so hard. Well, yeah, but really the hard work is figuring out what is coming up that you didn't have any idea. What kind of feelings, where are they coming from inside of you?
Yes.
That's super important. And that's one of the principles: discover, exercise, and rely on your resources. Now, it is important that when it says the way this principle sometimes is, I think, interpreted is that everything's got to be up to me. I don't believe that's the case. When you are relying on your inner resources, sometimes those inner resources are going to tell you when you need to go get help, when it's time to rely on other people to help you down your path.
Yes.
So I would strongly encourage you to realize when you're in that position and turn and get help. There's a lot of people, a lot of groups out there that can do that for you. Anyway, so I'm at this point where I'm in front of you here talking about a topic, but I'm still struggling with it. I've been practicing it for a little over 4 years, but it's still a struggle sometimes. Talking about it actually helps. Okay, the next one, radical self-expression. So radical self-expression arises from the unique gifts of the individual. No one other than the individual or collaborating group can determine its content. It is offered as a gift to others. In this spirit, the giver should respect the rights and liberties of the recipient, which that would be boundaries the recipient is putting. So what are we really talking about as far as this goes? I believe in non-monogamy, we're talking about love here. This is your opportunity to share with other people, multiple other people, ways that you are finding out how you express love. People may be familiar with the love languages. That may be a gift that you have. My gift is that I ask really great questions and I hold space for listening.
I got questions. Just keep going. I got questions.
Okay, so that's what I discovered about myself. That's kind of my gift. That's the way I share love. So there's a possibility that if you jump into this, there's a really strong possibility that you're not even going to know some of those gifts and ways to express love, ways to receive love. So that's another tenet I think about not standing on the sidelines, jumping in sometimes, making non-monogamy yours, making it your own radical non-monogamy. Thank you.
3 seconds to spare. Give it up for Matt. Matt C.